Riley Freeman. Contrasting his brother Huey Freeman, instead of walking away from negative aspects of black culture and stereotypes, he completely buys into them to his detriment. Through his assumptions and media influences of what is an acceptable black male in society, we learn what Riley's values are and that he aspires to be an acceptable male as recommended by black media. A real Riley walks unintentional into the social trap, presented as unintentionally a life manual to an under-resourced and underprivileged mind of a black youth. Riley is an example of how youth are easily influenced by media intended to merely be a hyperbolic entertainment, but instead act as a guide to living for coming-of-age youth. Despite what Riley describes himself to be as a real nigga, what exactly is that in reality? In American street life, the term nigga is a slang derived from a formal pejorative known as nigger, used in the early 1600s to describe the blackness of the skin of Africans brought over via the transatlantic slave trade. It is derived off the Latin word niger, meaning black. Today, the word has changed context to mean less of black property and more of a fellow black human being of intrinsic dignity and an acknowledged existence of struggles of a society biased against them and preferred to other humans with no moral grade of higher excellence, but instead simply a shade lighter of pigment with the same shade that could even be dared to be enabled. In other words, what I'm describing is that black, instead of a word that's meaning something negative and objectifying, it is a word to simply mean my fellow human being of dignity and worth. If anything, I could describe this similar to the F word or the F bomb in that it has multiple usages, both as a noun and as a verb in different forms. If you can guess the proper F word I'm talking about, get a gold star. In season 2, episode 11, the S word, Huey says in the midst of a scandal involving a white teacher telling Riley to, in response to Riley protesting his first command to get Riley to sit down. Perhaps he meant it in jest to appeal to Riley's grip on urban youth, but there is an interesting dynamic. Riley understands context and culture surprisingly well. He knows it's bad when his teacher, who is white, says the word even in a teasing and condescending and even sarcastic manner. That is, it's inappropriate versus if someone he looks up to says it, then he acknowledges it to be acceptable. In this episode, Huey asks some very important questions. Huey Freeman being his brother.
Problem with restraining speech is who gets to set the rules. If it's only okay in a certain time or place, who gets to say what time and what place?
Who gets to set the rules, time, and place? And if so, who gets to set that time and what place? For Riley, it is his celebrity heroes of rap who he buys into and therefore takes acceptance. They gave him an image of not only affluence but perseverance and a model of how to handle a tough scenario. They are his models essentially. Something he could handle from being with no parents to handle yourself. I believe that Riley relied on television to parent him and that he has built a model off of television. Due to parents typically being absent from their children due to many responsibilities and therefore living a latchkey kid lifestyle, their children need more pouring into so that the surrogate model actually becomes their parental figure. Riley shows that while he is focused on being self-reliant as being taught from his media counterparts, he still desires a form of guidance, a parental figure, and mentorship. This focuses on the episode of 12, season 1. Riley was here. Riley is caught spray painting a wall. Instead of it being viewed negatively, the art teacher, as he's referred to, essentially a inspiration from Bob Ross, positively affirms Riley and teaches him the drive of performing a task and staying focused on said task. While he is somewhat annoyed by the chores he has to do to recompense for his punishment, This somehow changes Riley's perspective. Riley is encouraged in an environment where he is not demeaned. Bill Strickland says this quote, "Most of the white kids in my classes have grown up in stable neighborhoods and have graduated from good schools. They came to Pitt with a natural confidence and expectations of high achievement, and it was clear to me from the very start that they had been prepared in ways that were beyond me to make their dreams come true." In addition to this, a stable environment that cultivates all these abilities and more into a given task can produce artful skills and high achievement. Despite the teacher's devious intentions, it indirectly shows that with some direction, affirmation, and consistency, people have the confidence to make some incredible things. This level of high achievement is shown near the end, where Riley uses his spray painting on his grandfather's house to show his late parents. This also gives us insight into Riley Freeman's mind, that despite his tough guy demeanor and goals to self-parent through media, he still desires parental guidance and he misses his own parents.